It's intermission time. It's great to get out to the movies.
So I'm Megan, and I host this podcast called the Intermission Podcast. And today we have Matt on to talk about your latest film. Matt, can you intro yourself for the podcast listeners?
Sure. My name is Matt Johnson. Yeah. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I directed the film Tony, which is kind of a story about Anthony Bourdain when he was 19 years old living in Provincetown.
Hell yeah. And before we actually get into Tony, we're going to just talk about movies that you like so the listeners know what you like to watch, what you've made. This is a question we ask everyone, though, that comes on the show. Take it with whichever way you want. But if you were to pick a film that describes where you're at in life right now, what comes to mind?
Where I'm at in my life?
Yeah.
One of the best films I've ever seen was about the director of the film, The Boondock Saints, and it's called Overnight. And if you are even thinking of becoming a filmmaker, you need to watch this movie. And it's the story of a guy named Troy Duffy who sells a script to Harvey Weinstein out of I think he was in his bar that he met him, and he sells it for $300,000 and gets to direct The Boondock Saints. And he thinks that he has basically arrived as a Hollywood superstar, and he begins living as such. And this documentary, he paid for the documentary to be made himself. Like, he hired the filmmakers to make this documentary about his rise to success. And it is one of the most sobering and embarrassing in the best way stories about making it that I think I've ever seen in my life. And anybody who is interested in whether it's screenwriting or filmmaking or even being an actor has to watch this movie, because it will vaccinate you for behaving the way that he behaved. With even the minor success that he had.
I can't even imagine being like, I think people should film this, like, about my career trajectory. I'm like, this is worth people watching. You know how, like, musicians will do that a lot too, and I'm like,
more and more these days.
It's just like such a funny thought that wouldn't pop into my head, but I'm interested to see it. I'll go to watch. I love a documentary.
Say all you need to do is surround yourself by people who are invested in, and I mean that literally, in you continuing to behave the way that makes them the most money. And maybe you too will one day believe, oh, there should be a movie about my life exactly the way that it is. And I mean, hey, this is the pot calling the kettle black. I've now made 5 movies about myself. But at least I have the dignity to hide it.
That's funny and true. We will get into your past work, so that's kind of funny. I guess that's a good transition. So your early work, you did your series, like web series, Nirvana the Band Show, that went from the series to a TV show, then to a movie. But you also have The Dirties and you have Operation Avalanche, and all these kind of do have that common theme of docu style, like handheld camera kind of feel to it. Why that style?
You know, I have a really simple answer, and that is that I left film school so deeply uneducated, and that's not the fault of the institution that I went to. It is really it's the problem with going to film school as an undergrad and being so young and not quite realizing just how much goes into making a movie technically. And so by the time I had graduated, I realized that I did not have the technical ability, and still don't, by the way, to make movies like the movies that I'd grown up watching. Like, I didn't have the resources. I didn't have, like, the money to make movies that way. And 2, I couldn't compose shots and story in the way that all my favorite movies did. I was just incapable of it. And so I was so lucky to have been born when I was born. I basically rode the wave of what was becoming a kind of fake documentary / reality television show / like consumer true documentary aesthetic. And I fell in love with it. And I think it's because I grew up watching and loving documentaries so much that I had unwittingly memorized the grammar of those films, and so when I started making these like fake documentaries with my friends, it meant that all of the problems that we once had, which is that we had no money, we couldn't light anything, we didn't know any actors, like they became strengths, because all of a sudden, my first movie is a perfect example of this. It's about two kids in high school who are desperate to make a movie but don't know how to do it. And so, because that was also me, it seemed as though, oh wow, like this is really what like two kids who don't know how to don't know how to make a movie like. Like, in fact, we got it dead on, because that's literally who we were. And so that aesthetic just evolved as I got older, and I would say got more and more comfortable with it, but also realized that you can do things in that aesthetic that you just simply can't do in standard filmmaking. And I think that the dual release of both Nirvana the band and Tony in the same year exemplifies that well. I think if like the films thematically are actually somewhat similar, right? It's about young men, or you boys really, pretending to be men, like an ambition that you can't quite express. Like they cover a lot of the same thematic terrain, but they couldn't be more different aesthetically.
Totally. Yeah. I was going to say, like, Tony is an outlier. Also, like, Blackberry would be, I think, an outlier as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
For like the style that you're known for. Yeah. And it's funny you did just say that about the common themes, because I was like, you also have I feel like a theme you gravitate towards of kind of people with like an obsessive pursuing the impossible idea.
Yeah. Like monomania.
Yeah. And like, I bet that has to come from a place of within, which most of our art, I feel, does. It comes from personal experience in a way.
Well, I'm very comfortable with that feeling of the one thing being the most important thing in the world, whether that is like going to a magic card tournament, or making like the perfect Warhammer army to play with Ben Paler, or it's in film school and I've got a project and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know how to make this incredibly funny, and you stay up for 2 days doing it. Like I find that very animating, that there's almost a kind of like, I don't even know what it is. I'm sure you get animated by the same thing from time to time. And when it visits me, I feel like I'm magic and I can do anything. And so the characters that I play and the characters I make movies about are, I try to have them constantly animated by that thing. And Tony, in some ways, is the negative interpretation of that, which is that he knows that he should be something, but he has no idea how to do it. Like, he wants it to just happen for him, which sadly is a lot closer to the way that I really was when I was that age.
Yeah. You are a filmmaker, but I would assume also a movie lover. So have you been watching anything? I know you're probably busy promoting Tony, but have you gone to the theaters? What have you seen recently?
I wish that I had seen the movies that everybody is talking about, like The Odyssey.
Or a rewatch.
Invite. Well, I mean, I'm rewatching movies all the time. The movies that I did see, I saw the Borgley movie, The Drama. I liked Borgley's first film, Drib, quite a lot. I'm not sure if you've seen this film. I also really loved the first half of Dream Scenario. I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Until they invent that machine that can go into people's dreams. I thought like there was an ending to that movie that would have made it one of the best films of the decade, in my opinion. So I saw his new film. I love Robert Pattinson. I think that he's well, just everything he says is funny.
You said you haven't seen Odyssey yet, though, right?
No, I haven't.
He is such a good, like, to me, like a standout in the Odyssey. So
I get that. I get that impression. Yeah.
So perfectly villainous in a funny way.
And it's a great opportunity for him, because it's in Twilight. He kind of had a villain adjacent character. You know, like they set him up as a dangerous young man. Oh, careful! Like he could kill you. And they keep playing that back and forth with Jacob, etc. But it's been a while since he's got to be, truly. What's the perfect term for that look that he gets in his eyes when he looks just past the camera, and you can tell he has ill intent, like
devious.
Well, yeah, but that he wants something from you, and he's going to get it, and there's nothing you can really do to stop it. You know, there's something addictive about that. Yeah, he's one of the greats. Actually, it's not true. My favorite role of his, he does sort of play this exact archetype in Good Time in Josh's.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's never been better than that. But yeah, I want to see the Odyssey badly. I like the last line in Oppenheimer when he says, "I believe we did." Like I like that. That's a part of the of Oppenheimer that I liked. And I'm hoping that there's a similar moment in this. I'm generally not a lover of Nolan films, only in that I find that they don't move me. Like I want to fall in love with a character like deeply, and I want to be like, oh my God, please win, and um, and it's rare for me to connect with them in that
Yeah,
way.
it's because the scope is so big.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, thank God he's making them, because I mean, that is the kind of cinema that as a young person I would see and be like, well, I'm just never going to be able to do this. Like it's so beyond my scope, so to speak.
Hmm.
But you were asking in specific of other films that I'd seen and enjoyed recently. I was really getting into Australian cinema because I love Peter Weir so much, and one of the films that I rewatched and was reminded of just how unbelievable movies like this used to be was My Best Friend's Wedding. And I'm not sure how well you remember that movie. It is like, talk about like a villain that everybody loves, and you just are like, I hope you win. I hope you win. The movie is hilarious from start to finish. Julia Roberts' performance is unbelievable. I mean, there's some nonsense with the whole family singing whatever that ridiculous song is, but we get over it. I thought it was incredible. And that kind of set me off on a real, like, I'm going to watch all these Australian directors, everything that they've done, etc., etc. I love Australia. And have you ever seen this film Proof? Do you know this movie? It's
Wait, let me
very,
look it up really quick.
it's an old movie it's from the 90s. It is
Oh, no, I haven't.
it's well, I won't spoil it, and I've talked about it with other people, so I don't need to bore you with the details. But do
No,
you like
no,
Peter Weir?
Yes, I do, and I also will watch anything.
Oh, really? Well, then
I
check out Proof. It's early career acting from two Australian master actors, Hugo Weaving and Guy Pearce. Like you'll really enjoy it, I think. And the reason I was into this is because Dead Poets Society was such a big reference for Tony, and it was such a big movie for me when I was young that it just set me off on all of these Australian coming of age movies.
well, this is interesting. Why would Dead Poets Society be a reference for Tony?
Right. Okay. So I would say fundamentally what Dominic and I were interested in was the notion of male role modeling and what effect that had on both of us, how we saw ourselves in the continuum of role models, and how much of our own personalities were owed to people that we met that had a lasting impact on us, that we are still doing impressions of, if you know what I mean. Uh, I no one will ever know how much of an impersonation I'm doing of the people that I looked up to when I was the same age that Bourdain was when he was in Provincetown, and that's all of our little secret, you know. And I think that is not belittling of you. I actually think it's an honor. I think that the word tradition means literally to pass on. This means I have it, and then I find somebody and I give it to them, right? They get it now, and so the people who have given me these parts, the way that I pronounce things, the words that I like, even my taste in movies, like I'm an amalgam of all of these most of them young men that I looked up to, and I thought, oh my gosh, if only I could be even a little bit like you. And for me, the Dead Poets Society was in some ways the ultimate version of that, because you had these two different planes of role modeling. You had Ethan Hawke amongst his peers in this private school where he felt like an outsider, but then was brought in and got to see all of these friends, and they were all like, oh no, you can be a part of us. And he's trying to figure out how he fits into the group. But then on top of that, you also have the Keating level, where there's Robin Williams, who is representing a iconoclast outsider that comes in replacing their old teacher, and now they realize, oh no, we all actually want to be like this guy. And then there's even a level above that, because you can see that even Keating is not totally comfortable. Like, he has trouble standing up to the bureaucracy. Like, it's not as simple as. Anyway, Weird just does a perfect job of representing the way homosocial relationships like that really go. And so one day I hope to get even close to the level of verisimilitude that he can create with the way these relationships go. But I love the film. I love the film. It had a huge impact on me as a kid. My mom rented me a series of Robin Williams dramatic films, The World According to Garp, which is based on a John Irving book, and they just had a big impact on me. I don't know why.
No, that's cool. I always like to hear different directors' references and what they like watch to prepare to work on their films, because often it's a film that I wouldn't even associate. So that's cool to hear. I also wanted to bring up, so this to me, like when I'm thinking about the movie Tony, when I first saw it, like online announced that this was going to be a film with Dominic Sessa. When I saw that, I was like, that is ballsy, because Anthony Bourdain is a person that everyone is pretty obsessed with. He's passed away at an early age. And then people also find Kitchen Confidential like near and dear. Like, that's a book that a lot of people read that I think aren't even readers.
Of course, it's a literal vade mecum. Like, people carry it with them.
Exactly. And so it's, to me, I guess I wanted to ask you, like, whose idea was this? And did you find that to be intimidating or no?
Okay, those are two very different questions. You mean whose idea was it to make an Anthony Bourdain movie in the first place? That it was not mine. Like, that's for sure. Like, it was, I don't actually know if it was the producers, Tim and Trevor White, who run the company Star Thrower. They made the film King Richard, the Will Smith.
Such a good movie.
And I don't know if they had hired the writers to do a spec script story about this summer, or if they had found it. I actually don't know the genesis of it, but I was asked if I would be a part of it, and I think it was because I was in the kind of post-BlackBerry biopic boom. And biopic, I just mean like real stories. I was asked to make movies about companies and all kinds of shit like that, and I, like all of those movies, turned it down. I was like, I'm not really, I didn't know much about Anthony Bourdain, and I didn't want to make another movie that was about like a real thing in the way that BlackBerry was. But then I met Dominic Sessa, the aforementioned, and realized immediately that he and I saw enough of the world the same way, and had a kind of, well, I just really liked him. I liked hearing him talk. I liked watching him listen. Like, I just realized that there was something here that we could explore, and inside the Anthony Bourdain story, we were going to discover something. So that's as far as my impact on how the idea goes. Like, I joined on with Dominic and tried to make the most of it.
Got it. That's so interesting how that works. Because, like, as an outsider, I like don't get the logistics. So,
but every film's different. Every film's different.
Yeah. This was a thought when I finished watching the movie. Because, to be frank, I didn't watch the trailer ahead of time. I try not to.
Good.
I just like go in fresh. And so when I think of Anthony Bourdain, I think like leather jacket, smoking a cig, probably like in some sort of Asian country or in like New York, and it's kind of gritty and whatever. And so this movie, it's like such a different feel, because it's the before, like you said, the before he becomes who he is, and he's like a young kid, his first time in the kitchen. It's just like a different feeling. Well, I guess actually this doesn't really make sense, because you're telling me that it was already segmented to be that period of time before you were linked to it, right?
Well,
like you didn't.
Look, there's depth to that, and originally I think that screenplay is available, actually. If you go on the Blacklist, I wonder if Lou and Todd's script is still there, because you'll be able to see like the differences in black and white, so to speak. But I think the original vision for it was to not have it be balanced whatsoever in terms of him before Provincetown and then going, but it spent more time with him at Vassar College and then at home. But it's sort of neither here nor there. Like, really, it was truly their idea to have it be like locked into this single summer. And it is like in some ways the secret of the whole film in that it is just like a slice of life literally, and from that we have to take his entire adulthood and I won't say answer for it, but at the very least set it up.
Yeah.
And it in some ways is the game of the movie. How much can we point to and allude to, but also it's really the strength, which is that it's trying to show that like a very small moment in a very small period in all of our lives can have very outsized effects on our adulthood in ways that is worth appreciating, because you're going to I guess it means like don't do anything half-heartedly because when you're young, because you have no idea that may be the thing that creates you.
I like that a lot. To me, that's very inspiring. So that's cool.
Well, don't ask Nietzsche about that. You know his concept of the eternal return. It's that okay. You know in the film, like we reference it. So in the film, when Nancy hands Tony the photographs that she's been taking of him all summer, that is a kind of allusion to this concept, the eternal return, and that is this: whatever it is you're doing, we'll take this experience right now that we're having. We're having you're running your TV show, okay? Mm-hmm. You had better be happy enough with the way you're behaving right now and what you're doing and the thoughts that you're thinking and your behavior, that you would be satisfied after you die needing to relive this interview over and over and over again for all eternity. And so it's this notion that whatever you're doing, think about it in terms of doing it forever. And it's a way of tilting your behavior towards that which you can be constantly proud of, because if you were caught doing it, if you had to repeat it, if you needed to watch yourself do it on television, not only would you not feel shame, but you could have some dignity. And that's why when Bourdain is faced with these photographs of him being like completely false, trying to impress this girl using a false face, this phatic behavior of I'm cool, or I'm this, or I'm smoking, like it humiliates him. And he's looking at it faced with, I can't believe that I've frozen myself like this and I've given them to this woman I love so much. And it's only when he sees this photograph at the end of him caught cutting fish for his boss, doing his boss a favor because he didn't want to interrupt the party. Like that's the only time where he goes, oh, I can get used to this, right? Like I'm not embarrassed by this. And it's a window into his future of a life of true dignity. Not quiet dignity like Antonio Banderas has, but dignity. And so, it's something that I think about a lot. You know, when I was young, I used to think, all this stuff is in the movie as well, but like my religious education had me worried that upon death, I would be sat in a room with all of my relatives and we would watch the movie of my life together. And it prevented me, not all the time, but often enough, from really, really acting in ways that I wouldn't be able to stand reliving amongst the people who I love most. I fail all the time, obviously, but it's a decent torture for trying to keep yourself on the straight and narrow.
This is so you put it really concisely for me to like digest, so that was really helpful, and I resonate with that concept. I'm going to take that with me. I'm really liking this notion. I think that I want to put that in my back pocket. And it's cool that you get to like seep in as a director. You get to seep in these notions that interest you in your personal life into a project that is like somewhat given to you. Do you know what I mean?
I get to test them out. That's for sure. And at some level, as I was saying earlier, I feel as I get older, it's my job to try to maybe not be a role model for other people, but at least put things out into the world that can improve their sense of self in a useful way, as opposed to, doing everything like the way that young Bourdain does them, just to enrich himself, inflate his status, become great at the expense of others because he deserves it. Thank God we both got away from that behavior.
I guess I want to know like what Dominic brought to the role that you weren't expecting. I think him in The Holdovers was such a cool role, and obviously it brought everyone to know who he is because that was his first project. So this is I hadn't seen his other work since Holdovers. This is my first time seeing him since then. Yeah, I just think he comes across like a cool guy, and like you said, you two connected. I wanted to know like what he brought into the character.
You know, look, the answer is basically the whole movie in a sense. I wasn't going to make this movie until I met him, and I looked in his eyes and I thought, this young man has the power to convey so much without words, and because I knew, well, if we make this movie, he's probably going to be in every single shot. Like, the movie's only going to be restricted to his perspective. That means that I'd better be really happy trying to decode his thoughts as an audience member. And he just has this naturally. He seems, he's a dear friend, but if you don't know him, I think he seems kind of wounded, right? Like, he seems as though he's not in pain necessarily, but that the world is weighing heavily on him, and that he feels things deeply. And when I read Bourdain's writing about this time in his life, I find that to be crystal clear that, he's carrying a heavy load. He's carrying a very heavy load, and Dom just has that naturally. After I met him, we had lunch together. I said to my producer immediately afterwards, I said, we're ready to shoot tomorrow. Like, we shouldn't let him do any prep whatsoever. Like, he's ready right now. Let's just put him on camera and shoot the movie, because he just has it. You asked what surprised me though, and that I knew going in. I think what surprised me is that you'd never think this, but he loved to put himself at risk. He loved like doing things that were dangerous. He loved the scene where him and Leo steal the car and almost have that car crash. Like, he would get such a thrill and would push me to put him in more and more and more like physically dangerous situations. Like, he has such a he's so risk motivated in that way, and it made me realize, we could make a really crazy action movie together, just because he's like a young Tom Cruise in that way, really. Like, he's like, let's fucking do it.
Sick. I wouldn't expect that either. That's fun.
I know,
that's a fun person to, that's a fun person to work with.
The best.
I want to say thank you for chatting with me. I really enjoyed the movie. I had a good time watching it. I'm excited to watch your future projects. I checked that you have some stuff in the works coming up. Was it I'm spacing on his name, the kid from Stranger Things? Don't you have something?
Yeah, we're making a movie next week.
That's next week. How cool!
Yeah.
That is exciting.
I think you'll really, really like it. If you liked Tony, I think you'll watch the movie we're about to make and be like, "Holy shit!"
Cool. Well, thank you for chatting with me. Can you tell the listeners of the podcast just where and how they can watch your film?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, Tony gets released limited in New York and Los Angeles on August 7th, and then worldwide on the 21st. And Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, it's, I think, just hit Hulu. So
sick.
Yeah, you can see it all.
An exciting time to be you.
Nah. I mean, it was more exciting when I was a kid.
Well, thanks for chatting.
It was really nice meeting you. I'm sure we'll see each other again.
Good evening.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. To stay in touch, follow our Instagram page at It's Intermission Time and share with your friends. As always, Intermission is produced by Jazeel Chu and Olivia Dean, and of course, hosted by yours truly, Megan Braun. This episode is brought to you by The Synagogue.